University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you and yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guests today are Lauryn Sanders, Holly Whitehead, and Dr. Karen Boleska, all of the UMSL College of Education Sport Management program. Lauryn Sanders is currently a senior at UMSL. She'll be graduating in spring of 25 with a bachelor's degree in business administration and a minor in sport management. She's part of the sport management club here at UMSL. She's also the president of the university program board in the Office of Student Involvement. Holly Whitehead is currently a senior here at UMSL. She's also a transfer student who transferred to UMSL in 2021 with an associate's degree in fine arts. She's going to graduate this fall semester with a bachelor's degree in sport management and a minor in business administration. So you guys basically did a flip-flop, right? Even though she's 100% online student, she's also in the sport management club here at UMSL. And last but not least, Dr. Karen Boleska is the director of the sport management program here at the UMSL College of Education and assistant teaching professor in the College of Education. As the first faculty member to join the sport management program in 2020, Dr. Boleska has since achieved remarkable success both within and outside the classroom. Most recently, she was the recipient of the 2023 Chancellor's Award for Sustained Excellence in Online Teaching. The experiences for sport management students at major events like the NCAA Men's Basketball Final Four, the Super Bowl, USA Cycling, and the NFL Draft have played a pivotal role in shaping Dr. Boleska's teaching approach. And of course, needless to say, the students' experiences in the sport management program. Welcome, Lauryn, Holly, and Dr. Boleska.
Hello, hello. Thanks.
Don't be too excited, guys. It's okay. We're going to have a lot of fun here today, and I'm really, really excited about this conversation. Our sport management program, though new, has pretty much just innovated so many things and brought so many students to the College of Education and to UMSL with some incredible experiences. So, Lauryn and Holly, I'm very interested in starting off learning more from you. Why did you choose the sport management program? What drew you to it? Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you wound up where you are right now as a student in the sport management program here at UMSL. Lauryn, let's go with you first.
Hi everyone, I'm Lauryn. I originally started as a civil engineer major when I first came here in 2020. As you can see, that didn't work out very well. I then switched to business administration just as a general major, and then I found the sport management program actually through Instagram, which is crazy. They posted a opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, and I immediately reached out to Dr. B and was like, I'm definitely interested. And from there, my experience just kind of grew.
So were you in the sport management program before that, or had you already started?
No, I wasn't in the sport management program before that. I kind of had an idea I wanted to do sport management just because I grew up playing basketball and I stopped. I don't physically cannot do it anymore. So I knew I wanted to be in the sports world in general.
So you just happened to stumble upon an Instagram post about going to the Super Bowl, and then that's all she wrote. You were signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, I was signed, sealed, and delivered after that. I was like, that was my calling right there. I just needed something. Well
done, Dr. Boleska. Way to recruit.
Yeah, so so yeah, that's kind of like how I got into the sports world. I love basketball. I love being around sports. So I knew this was a calling for me to just, do my career.
Sure.
And yeah.
That's great. Holly, how about you?
So yeah, I'm gonna backtrack with Lauren. Actually, I first transferred to UMSL as a bachelor's in business administration, and I was like, I do like sports, and that was my minor. And then I was like, you know what? Like growing up, I always watched football with my dad and my grandpa, and I was like, this was before NFL had any female refs, and I was like, I would love to be the first NFL female ref. However, obviously, growing up, I was a little behind on my birth. So I was like, you know what? I could still do something in sports. And I saw Dr. B's Super Bowl post on Triton Connect.
Same one?
Same one, but different platform.
Okay.
Yes. And I was like, reached out. And she's like, yeah, of course. Let's hop on the Zoom, talk about it. And then since then, I switched the first day of school
Wow.
to sport management.
How about that? That's pretty incredible. So what was it like to go to the Super Bowl?
Long days.
Yeah, it was long days. Very long days, but it was a great experience.
I thought I was going to hear, it was incredible.
Oh, I mean, it was incredible.
Okay, good,
For sure.
good. That's what I want to hear.
Being in the flesh was amazing, but they were really long days, but
Which Super Bowl was it?
it was this past one in February,
Oh,
so in
wow.
Vegas.
58.
Yeah,
58,
58 in
yeah.
Vegas.
Okay. So the Las Vegas Super Bowl. Did it feel surreal? Was it like, I can't
It felt
believe I'm
surreal
here?
taking 30 college students to Las Vegas.
And we did have curfews.
Yeah, we did. We
Oh,
had
good.
curfews.
So Dr. Valeska kept
It's
it
a-
tight.
weren't-
it's a
we
work
weren't-
trip.
Yeah, we
It's a
weren't
work
outside
trip.
all night.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, I'm sure your experiences, other than, hopefully, I should say, your experiences in the classroom and in the academic side of sport management have been valuable in addition to the great travel to the Super Bowl. Tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like as a sport management student and how it's preparing you for your career. Let's go Holly first, and then we'll go Lauren.
Okay. The intro to sport management was like the first sports class I ever taken, and one of the requirements is volunteer hours. Like you have to pass the class. And I was like, I don't know, that's kind of nerve-wracking, volunteering for like the Blues and stuff like that. But I was like, sure, why not? And since then, I love volunteering. I love Dr. B when she's like, hey, you guys can volunteer, like send all these things out, and I just like to volunteer. It really helps you see the sports world and how things are put together. And when I volunteer, I'm like, maybe I want to do this, or like I don't want to do this at all. And I think that really prepares us the most is volunteering.
For me, it was kind of backwards because my first class was not the intro to sport management class. I'm actually taking that this semester. So I kind of got more of like the backhand, like research aspect. But I feel like what really brought me and made me realize the opportunities that I have within the sport management program was every class we have guest speakers. And so like keeping in touch with those guest speakers, especially people who are interested in the same areas or like have the same jobs in which the areas I wanted to go into sport management for. I actually just got an internship because of that. So it like really opens your eye and realizes that you have a lot of resources and a lot of people who want to see you be successful in your career. Just kind of give you those opportunities of like, hey, this is where you can start.
So talk a little bit more about the volunteer experience, as you mentioned. What do those involve? How often do you volunteer? How does that work?
Start with service learning.
Yeah, service learning.
Service learning. What a time.
So service learning takes place in the 1,000 and 2,000 level classes, so intro and sport law, and students have to do service learning down in UMSL athletics. So because it's nerve-wracking, because it might be their first time doing something, we like to start them off at home in like a safe place where they know that the kids are going to mess up. They know that they might be late or might not know where a building is or show up in the wrong clothing because maybe they didn't hear wear running shoes. And so they'll make mistakes, but at least they're doing them at home. They're doing them in a safe place. And then after those classes, like Holly mentioned, our 3,000 and 4,000 level classes, you go outside and you volunteer. So you've had some prep, you've had some help, you got to be with your peers down in athletics, and then the students get to choose. So I decided that I hated in college when people told me what to do and where to go, and you have to do these activities. And while that's important, which me providing UMSL Athletic was their no choice. So that's their no choice. They have to go there. But after that, the students get to choose. Like Lauryn said, if you're interested in marketing, go volunteer in a marketing space. If you like to do adaptive sports, go volunteer with Special Olympics. If you like group activities and there's a 5K on campus, go volunteer at the 5K. So just letting students have the ability to choose what they want to do for their volunteer hours definitely helps, at least I hope helps, the buy-in of, okay, because I got to choose, I will actually show up instead of someone telling me, you have to come to this event, you have to be there. So that's my approach on the volunteering aspect in the program.
So Dr. Boleska, take that and expand on it maybe a little bit. What kind of outside agencies do the students get to volunteer in, and what do they do when they go there?
Yeah, so it's 100% their choice, so they can find their own volunteer stuff by literally Googling and looking out for things. When things come across my email, I'll send it out via Canvas or post about it on LinkedIn or share it on Instagram. But it's really ultimately, honestly, in the accountability of the students. The students have to find what they're interested in. If they don't do it, they don't do it. I can't help with that. But the freshmen struggle with that a little bit. Your first semester in, it's hard to understand the buy-in and the importance of volunteering. But both Holly and Lauren's points, when you understand the value of volunteering, when every guest speaker comes in and harps about volunteering, by week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the class, you're like, oh, everyone keeps saying the same thing. Maybe I should start volunteering. And so sometimes it takes a couple weeks, sometimes it takes a semester, sometimes they don't get it till their senior year. But just making sure that they get the autonomy to choose helps them venture into what they want to. If they want to get into Parks and Rec, if they want to get into, we have a student, Charlie, he wants to be a high school athletic director. So he volunteered in high school athletics. He did his job shadowing with his AD, and now he's interning with his AD.
Fantastic.
And that wasn't a job before. That wasn't there. But he's like, hey, but if I'm intentional, like about where I'm volunteering and how I'm getting involved in things, I can just ask him for the stuff, and people are going to always say yes to free labor. So, but now he's interning with a high school AD, but that started with his volunteering and where he wanted to go and how he wanted to choose. So
the agencies the students volunteer in is pretty wide in terms of what they can do.
Anything sport and entertainment related.
Okay.
So it really opens it up. And sometimes students don't know where to start, because by saying you can do anything is kind of overwhelming. And saying you can do whatever you want. In the College of Ed, like, you're going to be a teacher or a psychologist or a counselor. Like, they're very clear defined roles. So sport management is like, you can do whatever you want. And that's a lot of things.
So what are some examples of volunteer sites that some of your students have chosen to go to?
So we just had an UMSL 5K on campus. So we had students volunteer there. They can volunteer at the Blues doing like handouts and giveaways. We have people who will volunteer for St. Louis City had a 5K this past summer. We had students who volunteer there. Special Olympics always needs volunteers, so we end up going there as well. But a lot of students will go back to what they know, and it's typically their high schools or maybe a YMCA that they went with, or an AAU, like an AAU team that maybe needs help at practice a couple times a week or something like that. But yeah, it's across the board, so it's been interesting to see where they all end up.
Sure. What are some other experiences that students will get from the sport management program, Dr. Boleska? What are they in store for when they come here and become part of the sport management program?
Yeah, they're in store for building their professional portfolio, for sure. Whether that's something as simple as a resume that they have to turn in, or a LinkedIn posts that are required by them. Even if they're posting to no one, right? Like both the girls here said that they learned about it over Instagram, and we started our Instagram 4 years ago with 0 people. So we require the students to follow us, and then students either share it or send it to their friends, and that's kind of how it leads to. But Same with their professional development. They might start with 0 people on LinkedIn, and they still have to post. They're going to post to someone at some point. Someone's
Sure.
going to see something. So doing that. Student professional interviews, they're actually coming up here in the next month. So students get to choose someone of their interest in a field that they're interested in and talk to them. Ask them, what do you do? How do you do it? What should I be doing? What could I be doing? So giving them the one-on-one chance to, again, choose who they want to talk to. Online classes, my favorite part of the program, online classes. We are live online, so we do have class like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., cameras on. We do debates. We have presentations. We have breakout rooms. We are a regular classroom. But even like Holly and Lauryn both have jobs, but maybe they start work at 8 a.m., but they take off for 50 minutes at 10 o'clock, and their boss is like, yeah, take a call, like go ahead, take your class, and they get to still work and still fit it in.
Great.
And we, especially during summer, and we're starting to see it more, like students are traveling out of state potentially for their internships, and they're still able to stay on track for graduation. So having online has definitely given us flexibility. Being the only faculty and going to the Super Bowl and Final Fours in Atlanta and all these things, like I can't cancel class that much. So best answer is to just do it online. So we'll have class Friday morning of Super Bowl. I'll wake everyone up in the house.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. For sure.
With cinnamon rolls.
Wow.
It was
With
at 6
cinnamon
a.m.
rolls.
this past February.
Yeah, time zones don't matter.
Yeah,
we're
that's
all
true.
sitting at the table on Zoom for class.
Yep. So it was good, but online classes give us the ability and the privilege to do more things outside the classroom for this field, right? Online's not meant for everything, and
Sure.
we understand that. And I encourage the students, like, yeah, if you want to be online, great, but if you're not good at online accounting, don't take online accounting. Like, that's okay. You might have to go in person. So sometimes there's self-reflection in what online is capable of for each student, but we all like, hopefully, we all like being online.
That's great. So talk a little bit. I know that the students are involved in competitions. I see you post about that all the
Yeah.
time. Talk about that a little
Both
bit.
the
What are
girls
the competitions?
both the girls are in the competitions. I'll let them talk about
Yeah.
how they're prepping for it.
Perfect.
Actually, do you want to talk about what it is first?
Yeah. What is the competition? How does it work? And
is
then what's your
the
experience?
National Collegiate Sports Sales Championship, hosted by Baylor and the Atlanta Hawks.
Wow.
It is a nationwide competition. It's national across the country, of course. And it is a ticket sales competition. They also have a corporate partnership division and a data analytics and game analytics. We participate in the ticket sales competition. And so basically, every school is allowed to have 4 students who participate in a round robin virtual round, and they have a buyer profile, and they learn about it and learn different sales techniques, and they'll get a call on Zoom, and it could be the director of ticketing for the Yankees on the other side. It could be the group sales coordinator for NASCAR, or it could be anybody like that. So they do their sales pitch. They have 20 minutes. The goal is not necessarily to sell the most, but it's to listen to the feedback that the buyer is providing and give the best recommendations. So it's not always who sold courtside seats, but who listened to the prompts, and who gave the best possible sale on the backside. So then from there, they basically make a March Madness bracket, and top 64 schools get 1 person from each school. And then we head to Atlanta. And you do it all in person.
Wow.
64 down to 2. The last 2 standing get to do it in front of everyone live. So the whole competition gets to watch and see what those students are doing and how it was probably better in different ways, or ways that you could improve on your sales pitch. So there's speed selling there. We've been nationally ranked the last 3 years. So no pressure to the girls and to the guys going.
All
But
pressure.
3 years in a row, this is year 4 of us attending. So we better come back with some medals there.
Sure.
But yeah, so we just participate. It's 2 days. It's pretty hardcore. It's 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You're on all day long. It's a business trip. So I'll let the girls talk about how we're preparing for that a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so we've been taking a series of classes from different people, different companies all over St. Louis and just in different areas of the states. And they've kind of just been like prepping us for like the step-by-step process of what it takes to do the ticket sales pitch. Personally, for me, I never would have thought I'd be taking these classes. I did something similar growing up. I think it was like Cutco. I think it's like a scam of like selling knives. And I didn't even make it. I went through all the trainings, and then I said, yeah, no, this is not for me at all. But I'm taking a step back and realizing that there's so many like opportunities in different areas in sports, and you'll like never know unless you fully go into it and commit to it. So it's been a challenge for me because you have to like study and go over and prepare for it. But I'm excited for the competition overall as a whole. And yeah, that's my experience.
Okay.
Yeah, backtracking what Lauren said, every week we're discussing different sales topics. So one would be like objections and like rejections, like why will you not buy these? Or like why do they not like the sale that we're pitching to them? Not only that, but it is a little nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous for it. But at the end of the day, I have to realize that I'm doing it to help better myself, better help meeting people, starting like those connections with people, just pitching who I am, what I'm doing, and helping with interviews.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. When is the competition?
It is the first week of classes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
we will be in class on Monday.
And then we leave Tuesday.
And then we leave Tuesday. And
Oh.
we're gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So like I said, it's 2 days. We get to go to an Atlanta Hawks game on the second night, which is super fun just to hang out with everybody after. But yeah, it's 2 days, but it feels like you got hit by a bus at the end of every day. It's absolutely exhausting. I know what's coming, and I am already tired for it, but the girls will be tired after.
Wow.
But it's really great. There's over like 60, 70 schools from across the country,
Wow.
everything from like your NYUs to UCLAs to Florida State to UMSL, and Missouri State was there last year. And so D1, D2, D3, like it's not athletics, so the size of the program doesn't really matter anymore, which is super cool. I think they've done a good job by choosing 64 different schools instead of just the 64 top kids. So it's allowing schools from across the country to get to network and compete in this type of competition.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the Hawks will be playing the Lakers so you can see LeBron and his son, right?
Yeah, I don't even know who they're playing.
Yeah. Lauryn, Holly, what would you say to someone who's considering, they're going to be transferring, or maybe they're even still in high school and they're considering sport management as a possible option for them? What would you say to them as they make their decision to consider coming to UMSL and being part of the sport management program? What would you say?
I guess for me, just be open to trying everything. And I say that in a broad aspect. I think I came into sport management like having ideas of what I want to do, but as I've been like volunteering and doing so many experiences, I'm kind of like set on what I want to do, but I'm also still trying new things. As you can see, I'm doing the ticket sales competition. So that's what I would say is like sport management is such a wide variety of things to do, and I feel like a lot of people feel like they have an idea of what it is and are set on this one idea of what it is, and then realize like, oh, there's so much more to do. So yeah, that's kind of like my take on it. That's kind of how I actually came into sport management, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna do this, but then it's like, oh wait, but you can do this and also do this, and they're all tied into being the same thing. So yeah, that's my take
Awesome.
on it.
I'll also add, like, students sometimes, like, they'll come in and they'll be like, I want to be an athletic director. And I'm like, that's fantastic. What are you going to do for the 20 years before you get to be an athletic director? And sometimes in high school, we don't think about that, rightfully so. We're 17, 18 years old, and we're like, I want to be an AD. And that's a fantastic career path. But the word is path, and that there has to be things along the way.
Sure.
And so, like, okay, well, what do you want to do before that? And a lot of students are like, oh, I never thought about it. I just wanted to be an AD. And I'm like, okay. Or sport agent. That's a very common one I get, is I'll talk to high school seniors and they're like, I want to be a sport agent. I'm like, cool. You ready to go to law school?
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, you got to go to law school. You ready to do your LSATs? And they're like, oh, I never thought about it. I'm like, okay, well, go spend an afternoon in a law office and let me know, like a law firm. Let me know if you still want to do that for the next 20 years of your life. And sometimes they'll do their job shadows there. And they'll come back and they're like, yeah, I don't want to be a sport agent. Like, okay. So just getting, like Lauren said, getting the experience and just learning what things really mean. As teenagers and even as in college, like we have an idea of what something is, and in reality, is it what we picture? We're on the outside of the industry, and that's kind of the cool part about sport management is that every student that comes to me has never taken a sport management class before. It's never. So every information we give them is new, and so sometimes on week 2, they'll find something in their job search, and then by week 7, they're like, trash that, look at this one. And so, like, it's just this long path and journey. And so, like Lauryn said, trying new things and figuring out what that means for them. And having an open mind is definitely super, super important of what that could look like.
Sure. Holly, what would you say to somebody considering sport management?
I'll take the honest approach here and say, don't work in a field or like a sport that you love, or don't work in a sport and you have no idea what it is.
That's good advice.
Yeah, because you will have people be like, do you know these people's stats? I'm like, no. No, I don't. Also, working for big name companies does not matter that much. Just because if you get a job with that company, whatever company, big sport company, and they could treat you badly, you might not like it, you might not like the environment and the people, and because you love that company, you have a different perspective on that. So I would definitely keep that in mind. I know St. Louis doesn't have that many like big name sports companies, so also keep that in mind. If you like love the Blues, love the soccer team, the Battlehawks, keep that in mind for sure. Just because you don't want to ruin what you love or like the company that you love. So I would say that big companies don't matter that much. It's the people that you work with, the environment, and like who you're always around day by day.
That's fantastic advice.
I have one more thing actually
Yeah.
that I just thought of. I feel like for me, when I first came into sport management, I was like nervous to network. Like when you start, you're going to network a lot, and it's going to be intimidating at first, but literally everyone that you network with is like here to help you. Like you have to remember that. Like people are people at the end of the day, and it's just all about making conversation. Like you can have a normal conversation with someone and later on need to reach out to them to see if they have any internships. Well, then you've already had that conversation, so they're open to helping you find that for yourself. So I think like the networking aspect, I feel like a lot of people are nervous to do that, but in the long run, it's just going to help you because the more you network, the more you'll know. And
Sure.
Dr. B always says it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. So,
But they can't necessarily get you a job.
well, yeah,
Right?
that's true.
Right.
But they'll help you start, and
Yeah.
that's the big thing, just starting and figuring it out.
Good advice.
I'll also say it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah.
There are long days.
It's still a job,
hard
right?
days.
It's still
Yes.
a job.
Yeah.
Especially if you
Yeah.
work for a big company, you always have to be professional. Like no matter what's happening around you, who's screaming at you, nothing. You always have to keep it professional.
All right. So my biggest advice to incoming students, like I said, isn't advice, someone considering it. My statement that I say all the time is the biggest sacrifice in sport management is
Weekends,
time. Time, right? It's like Holly said, like it's not rocket science. We're not doing surgery here. This is not a very strenuous degree by any means in the classroom, but the time that you have to spend and the networking, like Lauryn talked about, and all of these things, like time is the sacrifice. We talk about it in class. Like if you have friends who are in the nursing program, they're going to be up studying terminology every day. Business, they're going to have reports, they're going to have all these things, and you're going to be like, I have no homework. This is so great. Maybe a couple of videos here and there, but other than that, not too bad. And then you're like, oh, but I got to work Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or Sunday is gone and Friday nights are gone. And sports is a different type of sacrifice when looking at degrees, when looking at career paths. There's reasons why people get in it and there's reasons why people get out of it. But
Sure.
the biggest thing for incoming students is your biggest sacrifice is going to be time. Time on what you want to do, but it's time regardless. Spending time on LinkedIn, spending time doing interviews, job shadows, volunteering, internships when you're in school. That's the time sacrifice. everyone says they can't do any more until they finally find a way to fit more on their plate. But again, sacrifice is going to be time.
Yeah.
And I'm very honest and transparent about that in the freshman class. Is like, time is the sacrifice you have to make.
Yeah.
If you don't have the time, or you're not willing to make the sacrifice of time, it probably isn't the degree for you, and that's
Sure.
okay. But it's very time consuming.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the old saying that I love is that if you find a job that you love, then you'll never work a day in your life. You know, if you're passionate about what you're doing, if you love the job, if you love the people, then that extra time won't be, you know, a negative. It'll be a positive, because you get to spend time doing the job that you love. You get to spend time with the people that you love. So I get a feeling that that's going to be very true of a lot of the careers that our sport management students find themselves in. So we are out of time, so I hate to end this conversation because this has been fantastic. Dr. Boleska, are we going to New Orleans for the Super Bowl again this year?
We are, and we'll be going to Santa Clara, California the year after, 49ers
Sweet.
Stadium.
Oh,
Yes.
hello. And
Next thing up is Atlanta, then New Orleans Super Bowl, and then San Antonio Final Four. We'll
Okay.
have Arch Madness in between there here in St. Louis. Yeah.
and are we doing the World Cup?
We are doing World Cup 26 in Kansas City, and
Nice.
knock on wood, fingers crossed, we'll do 28 Olympics in
Sweet.
LA.
That's awesome.
So yeah, big things coming.
Can our students come back and go to LA Olympics if they want
They
to
sure
after they graduate?
can.
Oh, there you go, Holly
They
and
sure
Lauren.
can.
You're all set.
Yeah.
Well, Lauryn Saunders, Holly Whitehead, and Dr. Karen Boleska, thank you so much for being on Triton Talk today. This has been awesome. I could talk to you for another hour, but I'm sure you have other things to do. And knowing Dr. Boleska, I'm sure that's very true.
Yeah.
That you probably have a lot of work to do. Thanks for being on Triton Talk. Thanks for everything you're doing here at UMSL. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.